Have you ever popped last night's leftovers into the microwave without a second thought, thinking you're saving time and avoiding waste? Maybe it's that container of spinach soup from dinner or the rice dish your mom always loved. You heat it up, serve it with love, and feel good about not letting food go to waste. But what if I told you that this simple, well-meaning habit could silently be putting your health or your elderly parents' health at serious risk? I know that sounds scary, and I don't say it to frighten you. But here's the truth, that many families don't realize for older adults what they eat, and especially how they reheat it, can literally be the difference between thriving in their golden years and facing serious health setbacks like cancer, memory loss, or even early cognitive decline. Their bodies aren't as resilient as they once were, and their immune systems can't fight off threats the way yours might. You see, when we age, our stomachs produce less acid, our immune systems weaken, and our bodies become more sensitive to toxins that younger people might shrug off. That leftover meal that seems perfectly fine to you, it could be harboring dangers that are particularly threatening to someone over 60. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 everyday foods that may seem completely harmless sitting in your refrigerator until they're reheated. These are foods that doctors and food safety experts have been warning about for years, yet many loving families still prepare them this way every single day, unknowingly putting their most vulnerable members at risk. I'll show you exactly why these foods become dangerous, what happens in your loved one's body when they eat them, and most importantly, how to reheat safely so you can protect the people you care about most. Have you ever felt that nagging uncertainty about whether it's really safe to reheat food for an elderly loved one? Have you ever wondered if you're doing everything right when you're trying to care for someone who depends on you? If you're nodding your head right now, if you want to learn how to make smarter, safer food choices at home, type "I'm here" in the comments below. Let me know you're ready to become the informed caregiver your family needs. And don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that notification bell for more elder care tips from Flourish After 60, because your family's health matters, and knowledge is the best gift you can give them. Food number 1. Reheated spinach. Let me start with a story that might sound familiar. Picture Sarah, a devoted daughter who visits her 78-year-old father every day after work. Yesterday, she made him a beautiful, nutritious spinach soup packed with iron, vitamins, and all the good stuff we're told older adults need. There was plenty left over, so she stored it carefully in the fridge. The next day, wanting to make sure Dad gets his vegetables, she reheats that soup in the microwave and serves it with the same love and care as the day before. Sarah thinks she's being the perfect caregiver. She's ensuring her father eats his vegetables, she's not wasting food, and she's saving time. But what she doesn't realize is that she might actually be doing more harm than good. Here's what happens when you reheat spinach, and why it's particularly dangerous for older adults. Spinach is naturally high in compounds called nitrates, which are actually fine when the spinach is fresh. But when spinach is cooked, stored, and then reheated, something concerning happens. Those harmless nitrates convert into nitrites and then into substances called nitrosamines. These nitrosamines are potentially carcinogenic compounds that have been linked to various cancers and neurological issues. Now, for a younger person with a robust immune system, the body might handle small amounts of these compounds without major issues. But for an elderly person, their liver may not process these toxins as efficiently. Their cellular repair mechanisms aren't as strong. What might be a minor irritant to you could be a significant health threat to them. I know what you're thinking, but vegetables are always healthy, even the next day. That's one of the biggest misconceptions I hear from well-meaning caregivers. The truth is, not all vegetables are safe to reheat, and spinach is at the top of that list. So what should you do? If you absolutely must reheat spinach, do it only once and use low heat, never the microwave. The gentler the reheating process, the fewer harmful compounds are created. But honestly, your best bet is to cook spinach in smaller portions to avoid leftovers entirely. Yes, it means a little more work, but when it comes to protecting your loved one's health, isn't that worth it? But spinach isn't the only danger lurking in your refrigerator. Another surprising one is probably sitting in there right now, and it's something most families reheat multiple times a week. Food number 2. Reheated rice. Leftover rice is such a household staple that most of us don't think twice about it. It's filling, it's economical, and it seems so harmless. But here's something that might shock you. People have actually ended up in the emergency room from eating reheated rice. I'm not talking about rice that's obviously spoiled. I'm talking about rice that looked, smelled, and even tasted perfectly fine. Let me tell you about what happened to Margaret, an 82-year-old woman whose grandson prepared her favorite rice dish. He cooked a big batch on Sunday, left it out to cool for a few hours before putting it in the fridge, and then reheated portions throughout the week. By Wednesday, Margaret was experiencing severe stomach cramps, nausea, and diarrhea. Her family rushed her to the hospital, where doctors discovered she had food poisoning from something called Bacillus cereus. Here's the scary part: this bacteria doesn't just develop in rice that's been left out too long. It can be present in rice even before you cook it. When rice is cooked, some of these bacteria survive in the form of spores. If that rice is then left at room temperature for more than an hour, these spores can multiply rapidly and produce toxins. And here's what makes it particularly dangerous: these toxins can survive reheating. For elderly individuals, this isn't just an uncomfortable bout of food poisoning. Their bodies are less equipped to handle bacterial toxins. What might give you a stomachache could cause severe dehydration, dangerous electrolyte imbalances, or even systemic infections in an older adult. Their gut health is often more fragile, and their immune systems can't mount the same defense response that younger people can. Now, I bet you're thinking, but microwaving kills all bacteria, right? This is one of the most dangerous misconceptions out there. While heat can kill bacteria, some bacteria create heat-resistant toxins that reheating simply won't destroy. That's why proper storage is so much more important than just heating things up really hot. So what's the safe way to handle rice? First, cool it quickly. Don't let it sit at room temperature for more than an hour. Get it into the refrigerator as fast as possible. When you reheat it, do it only once and make sure it's steaming hot throughout. And here's my golden rule: when in doubt, throw it out. If you're not sure how long it's been sitting there, or if it's been reheated before, it's not worth the risk. And now let's talk about an everyday favorite that's surprisingly risky when reheated, something that's probably in your fridge right now. Food number 3. Reheated potatoes. Here's a scenario that plays out in countless homes. Grandma Helen loves her mashed potatoes, so her daughter makes a big batch for Sunday dinner. Monday morning, Helen decides to reheat some for breakfast. After all, potatoes are supposed to be healthy, right? But by afternoon, she's feeling nauseated, dizzy, and weak. Her family assumes it's just one of those days, but could it really be the potatoes? The answer might surprise you. Potatoes, especially when they're cooked and then stored improperly, can become breeding grounds for one of the most dangerous bacteria known to food safety, Clostridium botulinum. This is the bacteria that causes botulism, a rare but potentially fatal illness that's particularly dangerous for older adults. Here's what happens: when potatoes are cooked, their natural acidity decreases, creating an environment where botulism bacteria can thrive. If those potatoes are then wrapped in foil or stored in airtight containers at room temperature for too long, the bacteria can multiply and produce toxins that are incredibly dangerous, especially for elderly individuals whose immune systems may already be compromised. The symptoms of botulism can be subtle at first: fatigue, weakness, nausea. But in older adults, these symptoms can progress rapidly to difficulty swallowing, muscle weakness, and even respiratory paralysis. What makes this particularly frightening is that many of these early symptoms can be dismissed as normal aging or just feeling under the weather. Now, here's a misconception that puts many families at risk. If it smells fine, it's safe. This simply isn't true when it comes to botulism. The bacteria and toxins don't alter the smell, taste, or appearance of food. That potato dish might look and smell perfectly normal while harboring dangerous toxins. I know this sounds terrifying, but there are simple ways to keep your loved ones safe. First, never leave cooked potatoes at room temperature for more than an hour. Get them into the refrigerator quickly. If you've prepared potatoes wrapped in foil, remove the foil before storing them. It creates the perfect oxygen-free environment where botulism bacteria love to grow. And please, avoid reheating potatoes more than once. Better yet, try to prepare smaller portions that can be consumed fresh. Your elderly loved one's safety is worth the extra effort of preparing fresh potatoes each time. Still reheating potatoes regularly? You may want to rethink that habit, especially if you're also making this next dish that's in nearly every family's regular rotation. Food number 4, reheated chicken. Chicken stew from last night sounds like a perfect time saver, doesn't it? You made it with love, it's protein-rich, and reheating it seems like the smart, economical choice. But when it comes to elderly care, reheating chicken can be surprisingly tricky and even dangerous for older adults. Let me share Maria's story. She's been caring for her 85-year-old mother who has diabetes and takes several medications. Maria prepared a beautiful chicken and vegetable stew, and the next day, she reheated a portion in the microwave for her mother's lunch. Within a few hours, her mother was experiencing severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, and felt so weak she could barely get out of bed. What Maria didn't realize was that her well-intentioned meal had become a source of bacterial contamination. Here's what makes chicken particularly risky when reheated. Chicken is extremely high in protein, and when it's cooked, cooled, and then reheated, the protein structure changes in ways that can make it harder for elderly digestive systems to process. But more importantly, chicken is notorious for harboring bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter, which can survive improper reheating and cause serious foodborne illness. For older adults, a bout of food poisoning from chicken isn't just an uncomfortable few days. Their bodies are less able to fight off bacterial infections, and they're more susceptible to dehydration and complications. Someone with underlying health conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or a compromised immune system can face life-threatening consequences from what might be a minor illness in a younger person. Now, here's a misconception that puts many elderly people at risk. As long as it's hot, it's safe. This isn't true, especially when it comes to microwave reheating. Microwaves heat unevenly, often leaving cold spots where bacteria can survive and multiply. That chicken might be burning hot on the outside, but still dangerous on the inside. I've seen too many families learn this the hard way. The microwave seems so convenient, so foolproof, but it's actually one of the riskiest ways to reheat chicken, especially for elderly individuals who may not be able to tell if food is heated thoroughly throughout. So what's the safe approach? Always reheat chicken on the stovetop, where you can control the heat and ensure it's steaming hot throughout. Stir it frequently and make sure the internal temperature reaches at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If you must use a microwave, stop and stir the food multiple times and let it sit for a few minutes to allow the heat to distribute evenly. But honestly, when it comes to caring for elderly loved ones, fresh is always better than reheated. The peace of mind is worth the extra effort. And lastly, there's a popular comfort food with hidden risks that many families never suspect. Food number 5. Reheated mushrooms. Picture this. David lovingly prepares a hearty mushroom soup for his 79-year-old mother. She can only eat half of it, so he carefully stores the rest in the refrigerator. The next day, wanting to make sure she gets proper nutrition, he reheats the soup and serves it with the same care as before. But within hours, his mother is complaining of an upset stomach, confusion, and what she describes as brain fog. David is baffled. Mushrooms are healthy, right? The soup was stored properly, reheated thoroughly. What could have gone wrong? Here's what many people don't realize. Mushrooms contain complex proteins that are much more delicate than those in other foods. When mushrooms are cooked, stored, and then reheated, these proteins can degrade rapidly and produce compounds that are particularly problematic for elderly individuals. The issue isn't just digestive upset, though that's certainly a concern for older adults who may already have sensitive stomachs. The breakdown products from reheated mushrooms can actually cause neurological symptoms. That brain fog David's mother experienced. It's not uncommon when elderly people consume improperly reheated mushroom dishes. For someone who's already dealing with age-related cognitive changes or who's at risk for conditions like dementia, adding any unnecessary neurological stress is something we want to avoid at all costs. What might cause a slight headache in a younger person could contribute to confusion, disorientation, or memory problems in an elderly individual. Here is a misconception that catches many caregivers off guard. Vegetable-based soups are the safest leftovers. While many vegetables are indeed safer to reheat than meat or dairy, mushrooms are a major exception to this rule. They're more like meat in terms of how their proteins break down and how risky they become when reheated. I know it seems wasteful, but when it comes to mushroom dishes for elderly loved ones, my advice is simple: only reheat them once and consume them within 24 hours of initial cooking. If you're unsure about how long they've been stored or if they've been reheated before, please just throw them out. Your loved one's health is worth more than the cost of that food. The key with mushrooms is to prepare smaller portions that can be consumed fresh. Yes, it means more frequent cooking, but when you're caring for someone whose health is fragile, these small precautions can make all the difference. I know this is a lot to take in, and I can imagine how you might be feeling right now. Maybe you're looking back on all those times you lovingly reheated food for your elderly parent, spouse, or grandparent, and you're feeling overwhelmed, possibly even guilty. Please don't. The fact that you're watching this video, that you're taking the time to learn about this, shows just how much you care. It's hard to imagine that the food you lovingly prepare and reheat for your elderly loved ones could be doing more harm than good. You're trying to save time, reduce waste, and provide nourishing meals, all while juggling the countless other responsibilities that come with caring for someone you love. But here's what I want you to understand: your awareness of these risks could be the one thing that protects them from preventable illness. Think about it this way: the person you're caring for may have spent decades taking care of you. They changed your diapers, stayed up all night when you were sick, and made countless meals without worrying about the extra effort. Now it's your turn to provide that same level of care and protection. And sometimes that means doing things differently than you might for yourself. This isn't about creating fear or making your life more complicated. This is about being smart and intentional with the choices you make in the kitchen. A few small changes in how you store and reheat food can drastically improve your loved one's health outcomes and give you peace of mind. I want you to take a moment today, right after you finish watching this video, to check how you've been storing and reheating leftovers, especially if you're caring for someone over 60. Look at what's in your refrigerator right now. Are there containers of rice that have been sitting there for several days? Reheated chicken that's been warmed up multiple times? These choices matter more than you might think. But here's what gives me hope. Every single person watching this video is someone who cares deeply about their family's well-being. You're not here because you have to be. You're here because you want to do better, to learn more, to provide the best possible care for the people who matter most to you. You're not alone in this journey. Caring for elderly loved ones is one of the most challenging things we'll ever do, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed sometimes. But with each video like this, with each new piece of information you learn, you're building the knowledge and confidence you need to create a safer, more loving environment for the people who once cared for you. That's not just caregiving, that's love in action. Let me quickly recap the 5 foods you should be extremely cautious about reheating, especially when caring for elderly loved ones: spinach, rice, potatoes, chicken, and mushrooms. Each of these foods can become genuinely harmful if they're not stored properly or reheated correctly. It's not about never eating these foods. It's about being smart about how we handle them. Now I'm curious, which of these surprised you the most? Were you already aware of some of these risks, or did this information catch you completely off guard? Have you or someone you know ever felt sick after eating leftovers, and now you're wondering if it might have been related to one of these foods? I want to hear your story. Share it in the comments below. I read every single one, and often your experiences help other viewers realize they're not alone in their concerns. Maybe you've had a close call with reheated food, or maybe you've been doing things safely all along and want to share your tips. Whatever your experience, this community is here to support each other. If you found this information helpful, if it's given you new insights into how to better care for your elderly loved ones, please hit that subscribe button and join our Flourish After 60 family. This channel is dedicated to providing real, practical health tips that can make a genuine difference in how our elderly family members age. We talk about everything from nutrition and safety to emotional well-being and creating supportive environments for the people we love. And don't forget to tap that notification bell. Every week I share new insights about elder care, health awareness, and the small but important changes that can dramatically improve quality of life for older adults. Because your family's health matters, and staying informed is one of the best gifts you can give them. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being the kind of person who cares enough to learn. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and continue taking care of your loved ones with both wisdom and heart. I'm always here with more insights and practical advice. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and remember, knowledge is love in action.